Last time we saw Beerus' involvement as Goku and Vegeta stepped into the realm of gods. But Zamasu's about to show up, so how does that change here? We'll cover all that and more in this fourth part of What If Vegeta and Trunks Were Trapped in the Time Chamber. At this point in the story, let's rewind a bit, and also hop timelines. What's been going on with Trunks? Well, of course, right after he returned home, he defeated androids 17 and 18, and of course he eventually fought Cell too. None of that was an issue for him. Trunks has always been someone who preached hope, and even while being trapped in the time chamber, he had hope. He knew he and Vegeta would escape, and he'd save his timeline, as well as stopping Cell in the present. And that hope persists. Sure, he might have lost a few years in the time chamber, but in the grand scheme of things, Trunks has moved past that. It wasn't great that he lost those years, but he grew stronger, a lot stronger, and he's going to use that strength to protect this timeline even further. Going forward, he'll keep going past his limits in order to keep up that strength, otherwise those years would have been truly wasted. The timeline is safe for now, but he doesn't know if that's always going to be the case. So, to ensure that safety, he's going to be the person that takes responsibility for it. Of course, at some point, just like normal, he meets Shin and Kibito and learns about Babidi's plan. That's not really too big of an issue. He actually fights Babidi and Dabura, and since he's already strong enough as is, it's not too tough to defeat them. Getting Super Saiyan 2 is what allowed him to defeat them in the actual story, at least when it came to Dabura, but he already has Super Saiyan 2 here. And actually by this point, he's probably grown even further. I'd even say he has Super Saiyan 3, just like Vegeta was able to get. Which is pretty much overkill. Even in Super Saiyan 2, he would be good here, especially with how much stronger he's grown in base. Babidi and Dabura are defeated, and they don't get enough energy for Boo because Trunks stops the fight fast enough. But more importantly, Shin and Kibito are alive. They survive here, which also means Beerus survives in the future. Although he doesn't go after Trunks just yet. Anyway, since Trunks is very motivated to keep growing stronger, he continues his training under Shin and Kibito. It's the best path for him, and they're really the only people he could think of that could teach him anymore. And I guess that means we're caught up. Now we're after the point when the Universe 6 tournament ended in the present timeline. Following this tournament, Zamasu steals Goku's body like normal. He does consider Vegeta here, but Goku would probably be the main target considering all that's happened here, and how events would transpire after that. And in that timeline where he actually steals Goku's body, he succeeds, killing Goku and Vegeta there. And then moving on with his plan like normal, traveling to Trunks' timeline. Unlike normal though, Goku Black realizes that Beerus and Whis are still around in this timeline. And it does seem like an issue, but all he really needs to do is kill Shin, and then Beerus and Whis will be out of his hair. It seems simple enough, especially because he's way stronger than Shin at the moment. The Zero Mortals plan never was going to be easy. He does have to decide though, does he want to kill Shin first, or does he want to kill Gowasu first, and recruit Zamasu in that timeline? Well, he decides to go for Zamasu. Zamasu is recruited, and then they go to Universe 7. The two arrive on the world of Kais. And right off the bat, they're a bit confused because Trunks is here. They of course know about Trunks, I mean he was the one who time traveled in the first place. But what is this? Shin is training him? That's even more vile, seeing a Kai help out a mortal like that, especially one who time traveled. Of course, no one knows what's going on right now. Shin and Kibito do know who Zamasu is though. And of course, seeing Goku Black, they think it's Goku, specifically Trunks, who's even more confused. Why is there another Kai, and why does this guy look like Goku? Clearly it isn't him though. Well, looks like they need to split up. Zamasu goes after Shin and Kibito, while Goku Black goes after Trunks. Trunks tries to help the Kais, but they say they're fine. Focus on fighting whoever that guy is. And knowing Trunks, he wouldn't waste any time here. Instantly he powers up to 100%. Goku Black doesn't see much of a physical change. He knows the Saiyans do have transformations, but this one's different. Trunks is definitely way stronger, and his aura is different, but in terms of physical changes, the only thing that's changed is that his hair is standing up, with his eyes slightly changing too. Fascinating. This mortal is much stronger than he expected. But Goku Black also notices something else weird. There's another Kai here, and one who's way older than the other two. He sees that he's noticed, and he hides behind a rock. It's Elder Kai. What Goku Black doesn't realize right now is that Trunks is using his ultimate form. With all his training under Shin and Kibito, he eventually broke the Z-Sword, freeing Elder Kai. And he didn't turn down the ritual. He went ahead with it, and now he has this as his full power. Which is great, because it's way too much for Goku Black to handle. Once he gets past the fact that this guy looks like Goku, pretty quickly he gets serious and just goes for the kill. It's not even that tough. He expected Goku Black to transform, but he doesn't. Which is good, that makes it a lot less risky for Trunks. It's pretty clear that Goku Black is the powerhouse here, and Zamasu's obviously involved, but he's not too big of a threat in terms of physical strength. So it's best to wipe out Goku Black first, and then get answers from Zamasu. Goku Black is killed pretty quickly. Zamasu of course notices this, and he kinda panics a bit, trying to teleport away, but he doesn't even get a moment to act because Shin and Kibito use their combined power to freeze him in place, with Trunks lending some of his own too. He knows a lot of their techniques after all. Shin then tries to question him. What is this all about? And then Trunks notices the time ring on his finger. Goku Black had the same exact thing. Also, why did he look like Goku in the first place? Why are they even working together? Shin and Kibito also noticed that in their fight, Zamasu didn't take much damage, because when he did, he would just heal it instantly. Not that they were trying to kill him right away, it still was a fellow Kai. They didn't know what was going on. Unlike what Trunks did with Goku Black, they couldn't really shoot first and ask questions later. Zamasu's of course not giving up any of the info, thinking he could still win this. But then another voice chimes in. He actually saw exactly what happened, looking at his staff, and showing everyone else. The person there is someone unfamiliar to Trunks, but he's clearly a godly figure. It's Whis. He explains. Goku Black is Zamasu from another timeline, and he used the Super Dragon Balls to steal Goku's body. And he's afraid to tell Trunks, whatever timeline Goku Black's from, that is the one he's familiar with. But this can be reversed. As for Zamasu, that's the one from this timeline. He killed Gowasu and then became immortal. Again, this could all be rectified. This leaves Trunks bewildered because he doesn't know who this guy is and how he knows all this stuff too, and why he's helping out here. But another person steps up from behind him, leaving Zamasu terrified, as well as the 3 other Kais being terrified too. It's Beerus. He's a bit groggy after just waking up recently, but on top of that, he came here to find his rival, and Zamasu is getting in the way of that. Now, he did like what he saw. Trunks clearly is very strong, so that was a good display of his power, although he does want to test it against himself. But either way, Zamasu is interfering with him, and of course clearly killing other gods. If he killed Shin, that would have killed Beerus. He tells Zamasu killing Shin to kill him would have been a good plan, but the execution was kind of flawed. It's a shame he can't just erase Zamasu in the spot because he is immortal. Right, Zamasu forgot about that. Even with Beerus here, that's not going to matter. He can't die. Not a problem. Beerus then looks over at Elder Kai and gets an idea. He forgot that he sealed him away in the Z-Sword, but at least that reminds him. Looks like there's going to be another Kai sealed away in something. Using the same technique he used against Elder Kai, he then seals Zamasu away, this time within a shield, and he tells the Kais not to break it this time. Again, Trunks is still really confused, but Beerus and Whis formally introduce themselves, and Trunks immediately bows down, equally terrified like the others. But Beerus is here for him. He's looking for a rival of sorts, one that he refers to as the Super Saiyan God. He only senses trace amounts of godly ki within Trunks, and it's whatever he picked up from the Supreme Kai. It's not the type of god he was looking for, although that form he has is interesting. Learning he got it from Elder Kai, which does make Beerus a little bit happier. Maybe him being freed wasn't so bad after all. Elder Kai of course is not going to forgive him for that, but Beerus will definitely need to see more of Trunks. He came here to gauge his power in the first place, and that was a good enough gauge of it. And it's a good thing he showed up when he did, because now Whis was able to give them a bunch of info, and Beerus sealed Zamasu away. The threat has been stopped. What they want to do from here on out to reverse it, that's up to them. He knows Trunks has time traveled before too, which he doesn't really like, but he'll forgive it as long as Trunks promises to be his rival. Keep gaining more power, and sometime down the road, he's going to fight Trunks, and he wants him to be prepared. Trunks really can't say anything else here, so he agrees. But how are they going to fix this? Well, reviving Gowasu is going to be pretty easy. They just need a set of Dragon Balls. They don't even need the Super Dragon Balls, just regular Dragon Balls. While there's none on Earth, they can go to Namek for that. Which is going to bring up another question. I know people are going to ask, why doesn't Trunks revive everyone else? Well, they've been dead for a while. Like, decades at this point. He never would have even thought to seek out Namek until now, and even with that, it is a bit late to do all this, especially with how much everything's moved on. So maybe he'd consider it, but definitely not right now. This is probably the first time he finds out about the possibility of reviving them with Namek's Dragon Balls, because that never even came to mind. They could use the Kai Kai and get to Namek like that. So they do that to at least revive Gowasu, but what about the Goku Black stuff? How are they going to fix that, especially because it's in another timeline? Well, that's also not a problem either. Thankfully, Trunks went through Kai training and their rituals. Plus, Shin is a Supreme Kai and can use time rings himself. All Trunks needs is a set of Potara earrings, and temporarily, he could use a time ring too. Just as both Zamasus use the time rings to wreak havoc, they're going to use the time rings to restore everything, and this way, Trunks can time travel without breaking anything again. They go back into Goku Black's past, and just by doing this, they already changed the course of events. They're pretty unsure how this will affect the timelines. Will it mess them up even further, or will this just make it like nothing happened with Goku Black? Well, Goku Black was wearing his own time ring, so he wouldn't be affected by this. As for his timeline though, everything else is going to be changed now. So Goku Black did exist, but it's like nothing ever happened because he was the only one unaffected by this timeline changing stuff. It's a lot for Trunks to wrap his head around, but as long as everything's reversed, that's all that matters. Once more, he's traveling here to give them all info, warning them about what Zamasu's planning and how they need to stop it beforehand. Most importantly, they need to get in contact with Shin and Beerus in this timeline, which they do. And since they are traveling with official methods as Kais, Beerus isn't upset by it. And of course, Shin's fine with it too. I mean, it's his future self there. Plus, they're doing it for a good purpose, saving this timeline. But this isn't all Trunks does in this timeline. Of course, while he's here, he does take the opportunity to visit Goku and Vegeta, as well as everyone else. He wants to see what they're up to. They're glad to see Trunks, especially Vegeta. He clearly has grown a lot, and they thank Trunks again because once more he's coming here as a savior, letting them know of an impending threat. And this time, since he's not using a time machine, that doesn't muddy the waters. Although it's still a bit confusing to them how this all works too. So Goku's supposed to die, but Trunks coming here prevents that? Trunks says not to get too concerned with the details. Just know that everything's fine now. But before Trunks leaves, they of course want to test his power. Goku goes first, fighting against Trunks and seeing that he has the exact same form as him. They're both in Ultimate. Of course, Goku's is much stronger, especially with his godly training. But Trunks has grown far more powerful than he expected. He was already a great fighter before, but this is insane. He didn't even think about him getting the ultimate form. Actually, it's funny he has that because Gohan also got the same thing in this timeline. Unfortunately, Gohan's kind of busy at the moment, but Trunks would love to see that one day. Gohan's definitely living the life that future Gohan would have wanted. and it's good to hear that he's grown strong as well, using the exact same form as him no less. He also does spar against Vegeta for a bit, and while Goku and Vegeta are far ahead of Trunks, he still is keeping pace really well. Like, if he were from this timeline, he'd be the third strongest easily, and with how fast he's growing, he might even catch up to them, just as Vegeta expects from his son. That bodes well for the present version of Trunks too. But with all that squared away, Trunks returns home, saying goodbye and hoping that he could visit once more. Since he can officially use the time rings, that shouldn't be too hard. He will see them eventually. As for Zamasu, well, Beerus and Whis are watching him, and while he tries to keep a cool head for now, eventually he acts up, which causes Beerus to erase him, officially splitting all the events that happened. This version of the timeline is now safe. But speaking of this main timeline, we'll jump back to that as the main focus. What happens after this arc? Well, the Tournament of Power is probably going to be planned earlier than normal. Without another Zeno, the Zeno here does get bored. So the Tournament of Power is set into motion, and there's probably not going to be an exhibition match either because there's no reason for it. Zeno did that to show the other Zeno what a tournament was like, so they don't need that here. Now Universe 7 needs to come up with a team, and they have a pretty good selection. Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Piccolo, 16, 17, 18 Krillin, 10 Shinhan, and as for the 10th, Roshi's an option, but before they even select him, or rather 10, whoever ends up last, they have another idea. For the last member, they could get someone really strong, and Goku asked Shin if they could use that time ring thing again. Since future Shin used it, shouldn't this Shin be able to? Yeah, he could use it. Actually, matter of fact, Goku can use it too. In his time training with Shin, he got the same formal rituals that Trunks did. He got some Kai abilities without realizing, and he never even really worked on that, which he'll definitely need to consider later for his skill set, but for now, he's mostly wondering about the time rings. The reason he's asking is because he wants to recruit Trunks. Shin isn't really too sure about that, and nor is Beerus. Sure, they're time traveling officially, but still, they're getting someone from another timeline here. But Goku's already pretty set on it, and so is Vegeta. Vegeta can't go along with him, but Goku puts on his own Potara earrings and decides to go to the future, recruiting Trunks as the 10th member. I feel like Trunks would definitely be glad to join, and no one would be opposed to it. It's not like recruiting Frieza. And while Beerus and Shin are still unsure about the time travel stuff, again, Trunks actually can officially time travel, so maybe it's not too big of a deal, and this does make their chances of victory way higher. After all, this is a fight for survival, so they'll need everything they can get, and Zeno probably would have said something already if it was a problem. Surely he would have known. But with that, we'll leave off here for now. What'd you guys think about this part, and what's going to happen next time? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.